What's up, everybody? Welcome to another special episode of Coffeez for Closers. Today, I am sitting down with Mr. Desmond Smith, the Chief Growth Officer at UWM. This guy is an absolute powerhouse in the industry. Very, very well known, very, very well respected. Desmond Smith was the Chief Customer Officer at Fannie Mae. He's brought so many new initiatives and has already made a huge impact in the mortgage industry in just a very short period of time. We welcome Mr. Desmond Smith. Desmond, thank you for popping on today.
Thank you for having me, Joe.
We're taking Coffeez on tour, so you know,
awesome.
I was excited. I was actually envisioning I'm gonna have Desmond on the show, and I didn't even really know if I was gonna get you, but after you're on next is Durant. I'm gonna try to get Durant.
Listen, you don't ask, you don't get. So
yeah,
let's
exactly.
go.
I'm just going. I go home. I go big or I go home. So that's how I do it.
That's
Desmond, a lot of people are really just getting introduced to you, so we're gonna dive into who you are. But what I like to start the show out with is because I know you're big on fitness. I know you're big on your health. I know you're big on morning routines.
Yes.
So I open up with everybody. What's your morning routine?
So Monday through Friday, I get up somewhere between 4:30 and 4:45 every day.
Every day.
No matter what time I go to bed. Now, I'm not a person who sleeps well, so sometimes you get 3 hours. Hopefully you get 5 or 6. But 4:30 to 4:45, I have a cup of coffee, and within 15 minutes of that, I'm in the gym, right? Monday through Friday, it's my routine because even when I don't want to go, when you're done, you feel great. And so a person like me, I need to go to the gym for my mind, right? That's how I decompress or get even you say decompress and or get the day started. And if I don't go or in the morning and then it's like 3 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I should go to the gym. The whole day to me is thinking about going to the gym. And then if I don't go, I feel like the whole day's ruined. So I'm a gym person. I go in the morning, 4:30, 4:45. I'm up, have a cup of coffee, and I'm in the gym.
And are you going to the gym at UWM?
I don't go to the gym at UWM. I did during COVID, but now it's a little further. So I like to go to the gym by my house, come home, shower, and then go to work. So, and then, during COVID, I could bring my stuff and leave a shoe or I left a sock. It's just easier for me. I just go home, shower, change, and go to work.
Now, how many years have you been in the mortgage industry?
33 years.
33
years. 1991. Yeah, was in between my freshman and sophomore year in college. I started working for FHA as a summer job. And I always joke and say, I got my DE while I was in college. And so I'm still pretty sure the youngest DE underwriter. I don't remember my number now, but that's how I started. Yeah.
So you started off as an underwriter?
Started off as an underwrter, yes. Started off as an underwriter.
Who told you to get in the mortgage industry?
I didn't. I had no desire to be in the mortgage business. If my mother was sitting here, she'd say, he always wanted to be a corporate attorney. But I ended up in the mortgage business because it was a summer job working for FHA. My dad worked at the government printing office. His good friend, Bud Carter, worked at FHA. They hired each other's kid. Next thing I know, I'm learning about how to underwrite loans. I'm learning about FHA 203Ks. And now 33 years later, I'm still doing mortgages. Never done anything else in my life.
You are a foremost expert. You know what's fascinating is you've been in the government sector. Yeah. And I personally don't know people that were in the government sector, but now it's even more interesting because you started as an FHA underwriter in your early 20s.
Yeah, well, I was 19. I was 19.
You became an FHA DE underwriter at 19 years old?
Yeah, because I was in college and I was trained I grew up in D.C., outside of D.C., and so when I went to school in Boston, I came home for the summer. I worked for FHA headquarters. So I sat in the office with the chief architect who taught me FHA 203K. And then the next office over were the 2 chief underwriters who taught me credit. Yeah.
Wow.
Randomly, right? I've never in my life growing up thought I'd be in the mortgage business. I'm sure I didn't even understand what it was. I guess we lived in a house, so I guess we had a mortgage, but had no, was never any thought process. Oh, I want to be a mortgage person. Never even thought of it.
So you worked at FHA and then you transitioned to Fannie Mae?
No. I worked at FHA for 2 summers, and then I worked during the school year at FHA in Boston. And I always joke, I quickly realized, at least for me, I wanted to make a lot of money. So I went into sales. I graduated college. I went to end up working for Northwest Mortgage, which became Wells Fargo. Spent 10 years there. Ran big businesses like private mortgage banking, new construction, non-prime lending. Like I said, stayed there 10 years. Went to JPMorgan Chase for nearly 5. I ran all of retail, so both their centralized and distributed retail. Stayed there, said almost 5. Went to Citibank, was there 5.5 years. Ran the entire mortgage business for the bank. Had correspondent lending in all retail. Never did wholesale. Spent a little short time at Capital One, and then that's how I ended up at Fannie Mae after Capital One. I spent 4.5 years as the chief customer officer at Fannie Mae.
Chief Customer Officer at Fannie Mae. What year was that?
So I was at Fannie Mae from 2016 until I joined UWM in 2021.
And I remember when you joined, and it was such a big deal, and it was such a big win for the broker community at large.
Yeah, well, you know what I will say about that, you spent 25 years doing retail. You truly believe in your soul retail is the only way, and that wholesale is bad. I mean, I've told many people who've heard my story. I really did believe wholesale was fraudulent. I believe wholesale, if you did, the money may or may not show up. It just was unscrupulous people. I mean, that's what I believe.
There really was unscrupulous people.
Yeah.
And up until, Dodd-Frank.
Yeah. I mean, and then, I'm biased because I work for UWM, but I do believe that UWM is the lender that changed the game for wholesale lending. There's other good wholesale lenders out there. You'll never hear me talk negative about another wholesale lender. But I think what UWM did was bring credibility and liquidity to wholesale. And obviously we brought an absolute dedication and devotion to client service, process, technology. And so through those things, again, I always say I'm biased. There is no retail lender in the country that can compete with what you can offer them through your company, right? That's my opinion, because if you're using UWM, again, you have process, you have technology, you have a dedication and devotion to client service, you have great pricing. And so, my opinion is I don't understand why anyone stays in retail anymore. I got it in the old days, but now, even HMDA, right? The government says if you go through a mortgage broker, on average, that consumer will save $9,400 over the life of a loan. $9,400, that's by the government. That's not about UWM. That's not about Joe at eMortgage. That's the government saying you're going to save $9,400, right? So it doesn't make any sense that folks go to retail lenders, other than they've always done it that way. And that's why hopefully like this will help get the message out and make people understand. And I always say to people, at least have a conversation with a mortgage broker. Just have a conversation. Maybe you still go with retail, okay, but at least you explored all your options, right? And so that's kind of where we are. I mean, I think we just learned that 24.2% market share in wholesale in the fourth quarter. So, 76% still going to retail, mind-boggling to me. It really is.
It really is, and they're getting gouged. So what is the lies you were fed when you were at that, even at a high level in the retail channel?
Well, it's not any lies I was fed. I was in retail, right? So you believed it. I mean, and there were stories, right? Everybody has a story pre-financial crisis of someone going to the closing table and the money didn't show up, right? Or someone going to the closing table and they were thinking they were going to get a fixed rate and the document showed up as an adjustable rate mortgage. I mean, but that stuff is, you're now 15 years ago from when that happened. But, people have long memories. And if you haven't had an experience, a lot of people today still believe you need 20% down to buy a home, right? And so they talk to their grandparents or their uncle or their friends. Oh my goodness, you won't believe what happened to me 15 years ago, right? And so that's the big difference in that. I'll start since I really learned about wholesale was when I went to Fannie 2016, 2017. The data showed there was no major difference at all between retail and wholesale, right? And so when you have the data showing that, still the message has to get out there. People have to be educated. And if you only have heard one thing your whole life, that's what you believe until someone else can show you facts and you go, wow. And that's what I say to people. Okay, if your parents are telling you, talk to your bank. Okay, talk to your bank. I'm not going to tell you not to do that. But also have a conversation with a mortgage broker. At least understand your options and then make your decision. But making your decision based off of one data point, that's probably not good for the consumer either, right? So I think a lot of this comes down to really about information and knowledge and education. And we just got to keep educating people.
What are some things that, even me or other people listening to this show right now can do to start doing a better job of educating?
Well, I think a lot of times when you're having success, tell people, right? Facts are hard to run from.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about pounding my chest about how great that, whatever it is. But if you're having success, give me an example. The average submission to clear to close at UWM is under 14 days. Almost anybody I talk to thinks it's at least 30 days. So every time someone eMortgage gets like clear to close in 12 days, 10 days, 14, 15 days, post on social media, tell realtors, tell friends, because I think one part is social media, but the other part is when other people start talking about it. You remember when, go back to, I always joke about pre-financial crisis, there was a time like in the 06, 07, everybody was in the mortgage business. You go to a cocktail party, I do loans, right? And that was just the way it was back then. And then obviously the bottom fell out. We got to get back to that point of when you're having success as a mortgage broker and you're closing loans. And I don't even care about closing loans fast because the customer might not want to close right now. But guess what? If you're clear to close, no stress, no worry, and you say to that realtor, when you're ready, we're ready, right? It's powerful. And so I think we really got to share all the successes that we're continuing to have. Someone in retail's quoting someone, say 7%, and you're going to get 6.5% with a broker. That's the type of information we have to be out there. Those are facts, right? That's not me pontificating. I'm showing to someone clear to close 13 days. Here's a LE at 6.5%, comparing it to someone in retail at 7%. Right? Those are the type of messages I think we just got to get out there. And then from there, and realtors, and then obviously consumers, just at least get another option. That's all I ask. Don't just go to retail. Okay, again, I'm not going to try to talk you out of having the conversation, but just give us a shot. Give us an opportunity to have the conversation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Desmond, you operate at such a high level, and you've operated at such a high level for all these years.
Yeah.
Like, who is it that inspires you? I mean, you sit next to Matt Ishbia every single day. Where do you draw your source of inspiration?
Yeah, listen, I will tell you, Matt is I got to give credit. I used to say a guy by the name of Mark Oman, who was the president of Northwest Mortgage when I worked there, was the best mortgage mind. I think I'd say now he's the second best mortgage mind. Matt's the best because you know what he is? He's driven and he's passionate. Drive and passion to win. And it's drive and passion to win is not for him, it's for brokers.
Yeah.
Because if he helps brokers and brokers help consumers, obviously UWM will grow. So, I would say, I respect the hell out of Matt Ishbia. And then for me, there's two people outside of the mortgage business that are just, to me, people, I guess I say I hold in high regard. One, I've met a few times because I worked for him. And then the other is someone I've never met, but everybody kind of likes her. So on a kind of personal, non-professional, I'm the biggest Oprah Winfrey fan. I just think her message of always trying to lift people up is just, I don't care who you are, there's never a time where if you're trying to help someone get the best out of themselves, everybody shouldn't feel good, right? So I'm this big Oprah Winfrey fan. And then the other one is Jamie Dimon at JPMorgan Chase, right? I just think is a business mind who's created, probably the preeminent global bank in the world, and they're involved in so many different businesses. And I don't think anyone should go to them for mortgages, right? Let's be honest. But I think just a guy who was driven. I remember working for him, and he'd coming in a meeting, and he used to carry a piece of paper, and it had to be folded over. And on one side is things he owes people, and on the other side is things people owe him. And I just thought it was always just a powerful way to, ensure that you're always driving for your business. So for me, obviously Ishbia comes in anything mortgage and his drive and his passion. And then, a personal is Oprah, and then a business side Jamie Dimon.
So you worked with Jamie Dimon directly?
I did. Yeah, well, I didn't work for him directly, but I was in several meetings with him when I was there, right? He was very hands-on at the time, was talking about MSR valuations and understanding the business. So I was probably in 3 or 4 meetings with him, right, where he was at the time learning the business and trying to understand how the thing worked, right? So that's, that goes back. I was there at 04 to 09, and I think it's right when, Chase and Bank One had come together. So, yeah, around those times. Yeah,
awesome.
Mid-2000s.
So you've been in the game for decades now, 33 years, but you've just not been in the game. I mean, you've been in the game at a very, very high level.
Yeah.
And one thing I admire about you is you're the hardest working guy.
Yeah.
You're one of the hardest working guys in the game, and that's to be expected because you're working hand in hand with Matt.
Yeah.
But how do you have such a strong work ethic? Like, where did you develop that from?
I think at the end of the day, we're all different, and I don't. Some people, what their priority is, as long as that's important to them, do it. For me, it's always been about being on a winning team. One of the reasons I came to UWM, it's funny, I think about this. It was kind of one, I wanted to work for a non-bank. There was 3 reasons. I wanted to work for a non-bank. I'd always worked for big banks, right? I'd worked for the Wells Fargo. I'd worked for Citibank. I'd worked for Chase. And I'd never worked for a non-bank. And I really learned a lot about it at Fannie Mae. So I wanted to work for a non-bank. Number 2, right? I wanted to play on a winning team. What I mean by that is I worked for banks, and mortgage was always pretty much a small piece. So I wanted to play on a team where every single day you knew what success was. Winning was being good, being the best in the mortgage business, right? So that was number 2 for me, playing on a winning team. And number 3 was having a job where I had a seat at the table, right? And so I work with Matt Ishby every day, and he's playing to win, and we are doing things to try and ensure brokers win. If brokers win, we'll get more business. So it really, I call it clarity of purpose, right? We're not trying to do appraisals. We're not trying to do title. We're not trying to do nothing else but mortgage business and make sure brokers can win. So, that's just who I am as a person, right? That's why I get up early. That's why I go to the gym. I hold myself to a very, very high standard for myself, right? I remember I worked for Matt and a few other people I've worked for. I always say, you don't have to worry ever about being disappointed in me because I will always be harder on myself than anyone else ever is, right? Because I want to be, call it ego, call it whatever you want. That's my driving purpose in life is to be a winner. And, now you got kids, so you want your kids to see that their dad works hard and their dad cares and he gives it all. Like my son's always like, let's go in the gym together. I'm like, you're 10, you gotta slow down. I need you to get hurt, right? But that's what he sees I want to do. So, I think that really is kind of the drive, right? It's just, it's winning. Winning's important.
How are you instilling that in your kids?
My friends always say to me, oh, yeah, I know you want this for your kids. It's very simple for what I want for my kids. I want my kids to be 2 good people. 2 good people who give to society versus take. That's all I ask, right? My son loves football. My son loves basketball. And my thing to him is always, he'll get down. He likes the wide receiver. He'll get down. He miss a pass. I'm like, that's okay, buddy, right? What can we do better? What should we have done? Sometimes just things happen. But it's always like, did you give your effort? You give everything you got? You gave everything you got. That's all you can do, right? So all you can do is make sure you're giving 100%. When you give 90 and you don't get the results, it's your fault, right? You gotta look in the mirror. So again, I'm not this person beating down on my kids. I just want to make sure that every day in class, you're giving everything. You're trying as hard as you can try, and you don't leave anything on the ground, right? So, I don't have any unrealistic expectations. I'm always there to support them, all right? I'm gonna push. He wants to go out tomorrow and throw ball. I'll throw the ball all day long with them, right? So it's just making sure that they know they're loved and that they know they're supported so that they can give their all at whatever they choose to do. Yeah.
When you transitioned from Fannie Mae to UWM, what do you think some of the biggest obstacles were when you made that transition?
Well, I'd already been in the mortgage business, so I think one of the people who probably were at Fannie that I think the world of had really been there their whole lives, right? That's what they knew. So I'd been in the primary market. I went to the secondary market where I learned a ton, right? I learned a ton about capital markets, learned a ton about servicing, having a presentation to the board. I think the biggest challenge was not so much going from Fannie to UWM, because, again, I just basically had the mortgage experience, primary mortgage experience. I think it still was, there is a big difference in direct to consumer versus B2B, right? And just how you think. I remember getting here once and someone saying, oh, you're going to get loans. And I'm thinking, going to get loans? Who are we getting the loans from, right? Because my mind was already, I got to get realtors and I got to get referral partners who will then send me consumers who will do loans. So I think, it was more about making sure I understand B2B versus B2C. And then how do you really move levers to go about building and earning the business, right? And so I think that was, I won't say difficult, but it had to kind of retrain the brain in terms of how you think and how do you get success, right? Success for us at UWM is that the brokers are winning. Brokers are growing share, right? Brokers are creating or giving the best client experience out there, because they give the best client experience, they're going to get more referrals from their referral partners, right? And then they're going to get more referrals from their customers because they had such a great experience. So it was thinking about how do I ensure that we're giving our broker partners every tool, every resource, everything they need to do to be able to dominate and win in their local market. So yeah, it took a minute to get there, but it wasn't much more, it wasn't the understanding of what we do, got that. It was just how to make sure the things that I've done translate into wholesale. And that took a little bit of a time, but not too long.
Do you've seen like a lot of success happen over the years in just a short period of time. You came in 2021 at UWM, bull market.
Yeah.
Then you saw the crash in 2022.
Yeah, in 2023.
And then 2023. Now, like, what do you foresee in the next 2 years for the mortgage space?
Well, look, we all know, doesn't make me smart, rates are coming down, right? And so how far do they go down? I don't know. But rates will come down. We will have some type of refi. How big will it be? Don't know. How long will it be? Don't know. But what I worry about the most is, I've had some conversation, I was sharing this with someone out for Success Track, a broker who's basically in 2020, 2021 didn't write one purchase deal, okay? Didn't write one. They absolutely changed their business model in 2022, 2023. They're doing phenomenal, writing 8 to 10 purchases a month. They've built a great referral network. You know what the lady said to me? She goes, I cannot wait to stop doing purchases. I'm like, no. You completely transition your business to be purchase, and now you just want to walk away. She goes, yeah, it's hard. I said, I'm tired of doing referral partners. No. So what you want to do is you want to keep doing your referral partners and hire an assistant or 2 assistants to do your refi. You don't want to miss out on the refis, but the purchase business is your foundation. You spent basically a year rebuilding your name, reputation, cold calling, going to coffee in your business. That mindset really scares me because, depending on how far rates fall and how quickly they fall, it will rain loans again and people will make a massive amount of money. Great. Want you to do that, but I want you to keep your foundation and make the money. So my worry is that people will go easy again, and then when rates go up, we're right back in that cycle. So that if we do that, that's how we will lose broker market share. We will continue to grow broker market share if we keep the foundation of purchase and take the refi. So that's a little bit of my worry. And we have these things right now. We're always rolling out different things at UWM. And, those things are, people say, oh, you're rolling these things out for UWM. We're rolling these things out for you, right? We're trying to give you more opportunities to reach out to consumers to have a conversation. And maybe they don't want to refi right now, but if you reach out to them, they'll remember you. And maybe they want to save $85 a month, and now they're only saving $40. But when it does hit $85 and you call, they'll thank you. Yeah. So we just have to continue to make sure that when the rates do come down, and they are coming down, I don't know when, we don't give up the foundation that's gotten us 24.2% market share. We take that 24.2 and grow to 25, to 27, to 30, and that's the way that we got to do it, right? So I know that's coming, right? It is when and how much, I don't know. but it will be good again. It will be very. And the other thing I think about is people who made it. You made it through 2022, 2023. This is the time where you double it down. Let's get ready. Matt always says, if when the rates drop, if you only double your business, you missed out because you should triple. So that's the way people should think about this.
Now, let me ask you, do you foresee any regulatory obstacles that could really hinder a broker's growth in the next couple of years, other than them trying to always change the thing on? Yeah. They're always hating on us for marketing, this and the other. But
no, I mean, I don't think so. I think, again, brokers, my opinion is brokers have all of the facts and data on their side. So what do I mean by that? When you had the HMDA data come out and say, and this was based off 2021, I don't think we've still seen 2022 data yet. If a consumer went through a mortgage broker, they saved $9,400 over the life of a loan. What's the regulatory agency going to say to us? Go mess with retail, right? A broker is giving you a better rate. You're getting a better client experience. It's not on brokers as the ones who, if you want to say more, I don't believe in more regulation. I don't, we won't get into politics. But I think if you want to go look for something, it's not in wholesale who's not delivering the best rate, who's not delivering the best, cost structure, who's not delivering the best client experience. That might be on the other side over there. So, I mean, I don't know any more than you know, Joe, on types of regulatory, but I'm not hearing anybody talk about any additional regulatory action, at least from a federal level. Who knows what different states do, but I think look, our focus has to be on continuing to do what you and I talked about, which is tell the positive stories of what happens when you go through a mortgage broker. Because I remember this has been a while. USA Today came out with a story that said most consumers would rather get a root canal than go through a mortgage process, right? Oh, because that's how bad it used to be. Ask you over and over and over and over and over for different documents, and so I think the way we do it here at UWM to make that experience easy is what we got to get out to the marketplace.
What do you think the mindset that an originator has to have right now to succeed in today's market?
Well, first off, I'm assuming they made it through 2022 and 2023. So if you've survived, arguably, I mean, there's some people, friends of mine, think it was even worse than 2008 because how fast rates rose. Affordability challenges, inventory challenges, just so much. So you survived 2022 and 2023. You, in my opinion, made it through the worst. So now it should be about, okay, I had to hunker down. Now it's about growth. Now it's about leveraging social media. Now it's about telling my story so that not only am I getting consumers, but I'm getting other referral agents. And so I think it really, we always talk about that growth mindset. It was hunker down. Now it's about let's build it up, right? Let's tell the story. Let's go get consumers. Let's go get clients. Let's go get referral agents. So I think a lot of it starts with us looking in the mirror and understanding who we are. And once we understand who we are, we can then go put that out in the world. So it really is about just going and tell the story about all the really good things we have going on in the broker community and therefore that individual themselves.
Love that. Now, I'm going to talk. I know we talked about this briefly.
Yeah.
And we talked about this in the masterminds, but from a government level, do you think like Fannie Mae, FHA are going to use AI to implement any sort of additional procedures or simplify anything?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's everyone's talking about AI, right? And so I'm sure, I don't know anything about what the government's doing, but I'm sure they're looking at ways to probably, and I would think for like Fannie, when I was there, Fannie will be looking at ways to, enhance underwriting, enhance quality control, enhance quality insurance. So I assume so. I know like at UWM, we're looking, making a lot of investments to ensure that, we are leading, not following. So if we're leading in the mortgage space, brokers will be winning, right? So I'm sure there's probably no industry, nothing out there that's not trying to figure out how AI can help them improve the process, improve the client experience, improve their ability to prevent fraud, whatever it may be. I think the kind of the reach of AI, we don't even fully grasp right yet.
And UWM's on the cusp, I'm sure. I mean, you guys got 1,600 tech guys.
Yeah, we huge investment in AI. My expectation is you'll see us roll something out probably middle of this year that will start helping brokers be able to do things faster. It's always the same, right? Faster and cheaper will always win, right? With a high level of client experience. Not just faster and cheaper, you give up client experience, but faster, cheaper, with a high level of client experience. I'm sure you'll see something coming from us soon.
Now, Desmond, a couple last questions. Now, you're the highest leader at UWM, the chief growth officer. What are you guys doing at UWM to develop such great leaders?
Yeah, well, I think it all starts with culture, right? Matt is absolutely, what you see is who he is, completely devoted. I always say, people say, well, tell me about Matt. I go, look, first and foremost, his family, his kids, right? Second, his company, UWM. Third, Sons Mercury. I think that's the way we think of it at UWM, right? You take care of people, you treat them fairly, you respect them, you understand who they are. And when I say understand who they are personally, right? I got 2 kids. My son likes to play football, my football and basketball. My daughter likes to play lacrosse. Like, when you invest in people, it's not like at work. It's like, this is my family, and I know a lot of people use that and go, oh, it's not family. It is. I mean, it's up to the leader, right? It's up to me to work with my team so they understand how much I care, and that goes all the way down. Starts with Matt, but it's still culture, and how you treat people is how you cultivate leaders, because when people feel heard, feel valued, feel respected, they feel trust, then they get the best out of themselves and they're happy to do it. So I think that's what we do at UWM. There is no secret sauce other than treating people fairly, treating people with respect, understanding who that person is. And again, I'm not talking about who they are at work. I'm talking about who are they at home, what's important to them, what drives them. And then from there, it really, at the end of the day, allows you to get the best out of somebody.
That's awesome. This has been a great interview. I have one last question for you, and it's a 3-pronged question.
Okay.
Okay. And I know you guys do this already, so this is just going to probably roll off your tongue, but what's a personal goal that you have this year?
Yeah.
What's a business goal that you have this year? And what's a family goal that you have this year?
So my personal goal typically revolves around my weight, right? For me, my personal goal is to stay right between like 210 pounds, as crazy as that may sound, it's good or bad to some people. My professional goal, it's about winning, right? So I want to ensure that we're doing everything we can to grow brokered market share, right? So, I wrote down on my goals, for one of my professional goals was get brokers to 25% market share.
About to hit that this year?
Well, that's for the quarter. Yeah. I think for the year we're still in the high 22s, so that's a big jump. But I always look at it this way: if you get brokers to 25%, UWM is by far the largest in the nation, right? Just because we don't do anything else. So 25% market share, and then family goal. I told you I have a boy and a girl, two twins. I have twins, boy and a girl, 10 years old, and so. I actually took this kind of goal, and Matt and I were talking about it, is to try and spend some more quality time with each of my kids individually. So I put five individual things with my kids. So like I took my son to a Lions playoff game. So I got one with him. I have 0 year date, and we're in March, almost in March now with my daughter. So. It's just trying to figure out ways, because especially when you're twins and they do everything together, so to give them some individual time. So I got 4 to go with my son. I still got 5 to go with my daughter, but I'll get them done, right? And it doesn't have to be anything great. Like, one of my I just haven't done it for my daughter is going to be, she loves art. So there's a little art place where you can go build like stuff. So we're gonna go do that. That'll be my first one with her, and then I got 4 more each. But that's it. Spending some quality
with
time.
The kids. That's awesome.
Yeah, individually.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time with them together.
Yeah.
Like, trying to give them some individual time.
That actually makes me think about that, because I got 4 kids, and my wife's always like, "You got to take them out individually, and you should be doing that once a month with each kid." I'm like,
it's a lot, right? It really is. I mean, and it's just a lot. But you know what? what you want to do, you make happen. And so, like, no shame on I'm okay with my son because I got one, and so I'm okay. But I have no excuse for not having done one with my daughter. So now I bet you I'll do it next week. I bet you we'll go. Hell, I may go Sunday and just, because it takes an hour.
Yeah.
Right? You go spend an hour in this little art studio, and I think those are memories that your kids will never forget. Yeah. So we gotta make it happen.
Yeah. Hey, Desmond, you've been the man today. Thank you so much for coming on today's show. You're an absolute legend in the space.
Well, I appreciate
Thank
that.
you for all your servitude to the broker community. You're a godsend to all of us. You've changed the game for the whole broker landscape. Continue to do great things. We appreciate you. We love you. Desmond Smith, guys, Chief Growth Officer at UWM. God bless his service. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you having me, baby.
All right, baby. Thank
Thanks.
you.